Hello, friends. Today we are going to talk a little bit about Messy Church. So you may have heard about Messy Church before. You may have seen one done, whether from another core you've seen, or maybe you've done one yourself. But Messy Church is a creative idea that it can look several different ways and it can be effective. So the tagline for the global Messy Church movement is church, but not as you know it. So Messy Church is a creative, multi-generational, and interactive worship experience. Messy Church is a great tool for outreach and family discipleship, and you can utilize Messy Church in any shape or form as long as there are games, crafts, activities, music, storytelling from the Bible, and fellowship. The possibilities are endless. So you might be wondering, what are the objectives and outcomes of Messy Church? So the objectives are that families and young people would discover Christ. We would hope that there would be diversity of fellowship between ages. We would hope that Messy Church would reflect the creative God who meets people where they are. We would hope that Messy Church would reflect a joyful God who wants all people to experience the fullness of life. And we would hope that the Messy Church ministry would reflect a God of hospitality who is full of unconditional love and welcomes all people to sit at the table to love and be loved. So you're wondering, how do I get started? What do I need for Messy Church ministry? You need 4 things. You need creativity, you need supplies, you need space, and you need volunteers. So how does it work? So first, you will need to decide what setting and format you are desiring for Messy Church ministry. Will Messy Church serve as a family worship service? Will it serve as an outreach event? Or will it serve as children's church? So despite your setting and format, you will need to develop a Messy Church team with individuals who can plan activities and plan and execute your hospitality portion and deliver your devotional time and host the various stations that you will plan. So if you'll be having Messy Church as family worship, you will want to add a family praise and worship time, picking songs that are accessible for younger children and families. That's important. If you have adults who do not have children or families, it is crucial that you find ways for them to serve and be involved so their experience on a family worship experience Sunday is not sour. So encourage them to take part in a station, encourage them to help with the hospitality, encourage them to just be an extra set of hands, an extra set of eyes, an extra set of feet to help accomplish this ministry. Don't let them feel that because they don't have a family or they don't have young children that this ministry is not for them and does not include them. So if you'll be having Messy Church as an outreach event, your most important preparation will be the promotion of your Messy Church event. So emails, flyers, phone calls, your social media, be sure to promote this event to make sure that you have families coming in to experience this fellowship and this ministry. And also be sure to collect family information so you can follow up with the families that attend. So if you'll be having Messy Church as children's worship, you will definitely need a few extra experienced hands to help the children through the stations. Last summer for Junior CBLI, we did Messy Church for our final Sunday of worship, just our track kids and the few leaders that we had, and it went fantastic. But there was a lot of legwork that we needed to do to make sure that when we had 1 or 2 people per station and the kids kind of just were independent moving through the stations, we had to set a lot of ground rules and make sure that the kids understood their purpose and what the rules were and how things worked to make sure that we didn't have any chaos happening. But that worked out beautifully and was a wonderful time of fellowship and learning and just experiencing God in a creative and new way for those kids. Now, planning. Messy Church does require a good bit of planning, so be prepared to be organized and to be creative and to implement some creative strategies as you plan for Messy Church. So depending on how long your event is, you will want a variety of stations. So, for example, for about an hour-long event, you will want to plan for about 5 or 6 activities, a devotional time, and a free activity, which could be a painting wall, a sensory station, just something that people can do if they need some space, if they have finished the activities and need something to do, or just something that is calm and simple, maybe for your introverts that they can just retreat to that space and have something to do. Some children will move through the activities, through the stations very quickly, while some children may not even finish all of the stations. So it's just important that we have things for everybody to accomplish and to take part in for the entirety of the Messy Church event. It's also important to have a variety in your stations. So be intentional in this in your planning. So have crafts, have games, have a snack, have something that's a take home and the like. You want to make sure that everything is not the same or the kids will kind of get burnt out. And there will be some that might not want to do the crafts or might not be as interested, but they might love an active game or might love the snack station. So it's important that you have something for everybody that they'll take really a liking to and an interest. Your setup is crucial. It's so important. So select your space according to your needs. You will need tables and spaces to set up your stations. And usually Messy Church is kind of a free-for-all where children and families select each station freely. So there's not a mass of people at each station. So don't feel pressured to line things up in a specific way. Just have your spaces, each space, accessible for all people to move through the stations as they please. And do not forget the opportunity to break bread or fellowship, whether that is a continental breakfast before worship or it's a lunch or dinner before an outreach event. It is so helpful to have hosts assigned to this responsibility to ensure all is taken care of so that you can have your creative team kind of in the space where the stations will be happening to take care of all of this. But that fellowship piece is so important, and that is what sets Messy Church apart from any kind of other activity that you might host within your context. So you will want to secure 1 to 2 experienced hands, teens or young adults or adults, to host each station. Your volunteers are not simply helping complete a task, but talking through scripture and spiritual application. It is important that you have scripture and application written out for your volunteers, as it can become a bit chaotic at their station. So something to keep them rooted and focused is helpful. In your planning, you will want to create a list of supplies and instructions for each station, and on the instruction sheet is where you will include that spiritual application, that scriptural piece. And it's also helpful to create a demo of each craft or activity to place in the area if possible. Communication is also very important within the Messy Church ministry. When you recruit your volunteers, be sure to communicate what your expectations are, what station they will be leading. Some people just need time to process what their responsibilities are, what they'll say as the process goes on. So just be sure to communicate with your volunteers. While Messy Church is a wonderful experience and is joy and life-giving, it can also kind of be chaotic. So just make sure that your volunteers can handle communicating with children, working with children, and being able to have those conversations, because that's what's most important within the Messy Church process. We can do crafts and games all we want, but without those conversations, that discipleship piece, Messy Church won't be effective. Now that you have figured out Messy Church, now that you have planned your stations, you've purchased your supplies, you've secured your hospitality and fellowship, secured your volunteers, and you have promoted your event, you are ready to go. So be prepared for God to move in creative and unique ways, and be prepared for special moments and beautiful conversations. Don't forget to follow up with your families after your event. So in your planning, there's great resources for you from messychurchusa.org. Don't be afraid to utilize their programming, their crafts, their games. They have great resources for you on that website. And also check out Messy Church ideas on Pinterest, and just even Google Messy Church activities. There's so many resources for you to utilize. We hope that many beautiful moments and new families and new joys and just a new way of experiencing Christ will be discovered through this experience of Messy Church. Don't be afraid to go outside the box, to try something different, to go against the traditional and the normal, to experience God in a unique and creative way. Have fun and enjoy.